afternoon to you all. So, you all heard a lot of economists today. I am only an economist by education, but not by practice or profession. So, let me make that first disclosure. There are two other disclosures I want to make. One is a hard disclosure that I am from SEBI. I work with SEBI, but the views expressed here will be personal. And the soft disclosure I want to make, and which we have seen over the last 2 days, everybody has espoused their love for Calcutta. So let me do that. I love Calcutta, and I've not been born here, not been brought up here, but in my society, my neighbors on both sides are Bengalis, and my neighbor who stores above me is Odia. So that way I have a total Eastern culture. So let me make that as a disclaimer, soft disclaimer. So I love this place, Calcutta, and Calcutta will still always be in my heart. So there are one or two comments I would like to make on the previous speakers that we had in the first inaugural session. Dr. Mitra had made some comments about association of ICAI and SEBI. So 4 of the 5 new areas that the CA profession has to look out for, he identified, was BRSR/ESG. He talked about digital assurance guide that was being issued by ICAI. Then he talked something about forensic audit. And the third topic he talked about evolving accounting standards for social auditors in the social stock exchange space. So you would have seen in the last 1.5 years, along with Dr. Mitra and Dr. Singhal, of the chairman of the AASB, we have charted a very good course for ourselves in cooperation with each other. So this is evidence of the cooperation that ICAI and SEBI has been in. And we are proud to say for the association of the institute with us in involving these norms. So coming to now the topic of social stock exchange. So this is again a unique feature that a securities regulator has been told at one point of time 2-3 years ago to come out with a structure for a social stock exchange. So nowhere in this world this experiment has ever been done with the securities market regulator. So this is the first time it has been done, and let us see how the success is. We are at now a crossroads where, having taken the chairmanship of G20 in September 2023, we should be able to see that this experiment succeeds. So let us see where we are and what we do and what is the role of the audit profession in this particular thing. So let me first demystify what is a social stock exchange. So stock exchange, generally when people talk about, they talk about where stock exchange, one is trading. Okay, so one is trading securities, trading bonds, and other derivatives or others. However, in the social stock exchange, it's not strictly in the means of trading. But what we are giving to a social enterprise which is listing on the stock exchange is visibility. And in the pursuit of visibility, the institution is required to commit itself to transparency and accountability. So today, if you see a person who is donating money to a particular charity or particular cause, he's not worried about the money going out of his hands. He's more worried that the money that he has hard earned and intended to go for somebody's charity, so where he's not expecting any return, that money is put to the use that it has been intended or raised from that particular person or from that particular NGO. That is his main worry. There will be very few people who will be more worried about their 80G exemptions than they are more worried about where the money goes. So the social stock exchange is an experiment to try to bring some kind of trust, some kind of transparency and accountability to this entire effort towards using money towards charity. So first and foremost, what we have defined or what we have designed over a particular period of time is what is a social enterprise. So we have defined what is a social enterprise, which means, in simple terms, it means it should do something for the charity. So it should do something where people would feel that there are underserved people are there, where people do not have access to life essentials. You're serving those kind of social norms or social problems. That is the primary spirit of you constituting a social enterprise. So once you are a social enterprise, the biggest worry for you would be, where do you get your money from? So as far as a normal NGO who is otherwise existing, for him, one of the ready-made now after the CSR norms is the companies. So you would approach a company where you would go to the company, ask for CSR funds, because that's the new norm now. However, there will be a large set of NGOs that may not be eligible for a CSR. So where do they approach? So we have set up this norm which says that you can come to the stock exchange. The stock exchange will register a social enterprise. So there are some eligibility norms that we have put in. So at least you should have a 12A registration with the income tax, so that satisfies your basic intent of doing something in charity. Then the second aspect is you should have raised at least 50 lakhs of monies in the last financial year, and at least 10 lakhs should have been deployed. The only other aspect we look after is that at least 67% of the monies raised by you should have been devoted for the purpose for which you are building up, or there's a primacy of social intent has been mentioned. So other than these 3-4 issues, there is absolutely no bar for any NGO to come and register itself on the stock exchange. So today the stock exchange is designed at NSE, National Stock Exchange, and as well as the Bombay Stock Exchange. So they have a separate segment set up at the BSE as well as the NSE. NSE has just got its in-principle approval day before yesterday. So once the entity is registered, then it can come and list. So while listing, it will require 1 or 2 main things. One is a track record of showing social audit. And other that, the primacy of social intent, he'll have to document, and the vision document will have to be presented in a prospectus kind of a statement for to be circulated amongst public for raising the money. So while we have always focused on rules and regulation, and we would be having a short word with Mr. Sundaram where he says dissolve SEBI, so we'll come to the point why we come out with regulation. So at no point of time, any economic activity can perform without rules or regulations. It will be a total chaos. There will be a total trust deficit if you do not have rules and regulations, because rules and regulations define the benchmarks within which you will act, how the contract shall be done, how if the contracts are not performed in the manner it is intended, then what shall be the consequences. That gives you a trust in the system. So thus, I would like to argue that even in a charitable space, if you do not have rules and regulations, you will not be able to build trust and dependability and your accountability or transparency within the system, based on which you will be able to come to the market and trade in a normal market, and here invest in a particular charitable purpose. So there are 1 or 2 more means of investment in a social enterprise. One is called as the zero coupon, zero principal instrument, where it is neither a bond nor is it a share certificate. It is basically a donation, but it has been nomenclatured as zero coupon, zero principal, because if you see the SEBI regulation says that SEBI can regulate only SEBI can regulate an instrument only if it is defined as a security. So bond is a security, whereas bond gives you interest. You are still liable to pay the principal. So it is not a place where you are getting back either the return in interest or return of principal. So it says zero coupon, zero principal. If that is so, then what is the return? The only return that the zero coupon, zero principal bond instrument is offering you is the social return. So anything that you say, for example, somebody invests in a social enterprise that focuses on education of girl child in the rural areas of Rajasthan. So that money is being deployed, but you're not getting any return other than your satisfaction that you are educating, or your money is directed towards education of a rural girl child in Rajasthan. So that is the only return you will get. So given that it is a kind of donation and that there is no return, monetary return other than only the social return, there is very little chance of tradability of this particular instrument. So we are only giving them visibility. And in order to gain that transparency and dependability and accountability to this instrument, we said somebody needs to go and see whether that particular girl child is actually being educated or not. So is there money being put to their intended use or not. And that is where we feel that CAs as social auditors shall play a crucial role in determining whether this particular experiment works. So these are various facets. So today a CA is very good with numbers, okay? So we have no hesitation in saying that CA has done fantastic as far as numbers is concerned. But given that social causes is not numbers, it's more that comes from the heart, or more that is more of the soft skill for a CA. This is where the CA will have to retrain himself to engineer his services, his processes, re-engineer all these processes to attune for a soft side assessment of life. So what he would be doing in a normal course at home, let's say he has a maid who works at home, he is giving him an extra bonus at the time of Diwali or others. That itself is a donation. That is a soft side. What he has to now implement is bring this on mainstream in his profession and see the softer side of life and experiment and assess this particular thing. We are very happy to note that the ICAI has already set up a Section 8 company for social auditors, and we have been inviting the CAs to enroll in this particular SRO so that they can provide these services. I believe the ICAI has also set up standards. Some 15 or 17 standards have been set up, and I think awaiting the council's approval. Hopefully that will be in place in the next 15 to 20 days. And hopefully by the end of January, the association of ICAI and the National Institute of Securities Market, which is coming out a certification course for social auditors, would have outlined their course, and some of the CAs who are already part of the SROs would have certified themselves with the NISM and come out as social auditors in this field. However, there are one or two points that I would like to make, and I'm taking a lead from what one of the star speakers on the first day said. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the name is A.C. Chaturvedi, right? Yeah. Chakravarti, I'm so sorry, yeah. So there was a 92-year-old gentleman, and you see the nimbleness in his thinking. He charted a very good course for you, and he also mentioned one or two very good things. And one thing he mentioned was inclusiveness. And the other thing I would like to attach to his message is we should get rid of exclusiveness as far as the CA profession is concerned. So today, whenever we go as a CA, we try to project that if this is a work to be done by CA, we try to argue that it should be done only by a CA, okay? So this has come to us as a regulator from various fields. So we keep interacting with ICAI, and there is a sort of request for exclusivity for working on a particular topic. So again, our request to the ICAI, the council members, whoever are here, is that this particular request is unreasonable, because we operate in an environment of competition. So if you think you are competent enough, why should we be afraid of any other profession, be it the CS profession, be it the cost and works accountant profession? So these are all professional bodies. The best will always win. So we should not look at exclusiveness policy. We should look at what we say competitiveness, and we should compete. And as far as competition is concerned, I have experience of 1.5 years working with the AASB and Dr. Singhal, and interaction with Dr. Mitra. I can say with unequally that I think ICAI has the best standards and has a higher pedestal to walk away with a head held high that you are the best as far as the competition is concerned. So that is one of my requests to you. So let's not ask for protection, let's ask for more competition, and I'm sure we should all do good as far as this particular social stock exchange and our other ventures that we are having on key performance indicators and our social audit standards are concerned. I'm just going through my slides to see whether I missed something. So, okay, the last point I would like to mention is there are 15 areas that the social stock exchange focuses on. I'm just reading out, it's already available on our website. I would just like to read out those 15 areas so that we have some idea of what social sphere of activity we are looking at. Educating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, and equality. Promoting healthcare, including mental health and sanitation, and making available safe drinking water. Second, promoting education, employability, and livelihoods. Third, promoting gender equality, empowerment of women and LGBTQ and communities. Fourth, ensuring environmental sustainability, addressing climate change, mitigation and adoption policies, forest and wildfire conservation. Fifth is protection of national heritage, art and culture. Sixth is training to promote rural sports, nationally recognized sports, Paralympics and Olympic sports. Supporting incubators of social enterprises, supporting other platforms that strengthen the non-profit ecosystem in fundraising and capacity building. Ninth is promoting livelihoods for rural, urban poor, enhancing income of small and marginal farmers in farm and non-farm sector. 10th is slum area development, affordable housing, and other interventions to build sustainable and resilient cities. 11th, disaster management, including relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction activities. 12th is promotion of financial inclusion. 13th is facilitating access to land, property, assets for disadvantaged communities. 14th is bridging the digital divide in internet and mobile phone access, addressing the issues of misinformation and data protection. And 15th is promoting welfare of migrants and displaced persons. So this encompasses the 15 items that is the priority even for the government, as well as some of the focus areas for a social stock exchange or for any NGO or a social enterprise that wants to come and list on the social stock exchange. As a parting thought, I would like to say that while we have had enough food for thought and we are waiting for any food for the stomach, I think if you have any queries or others or comments, we will be happy to take this. Thank you so much, sir.
As fund given to a 12-bed registration association, but TDS deducted under section 193C as a contractor. How they have done it? It should not be done, I think. What is your comment in this respect?
Thank you for the question, sir. Am I audible? Yeah. Sir, I'm no tax expert. I leave you to the other CAs. So I leave it to the other CAs to take up this question. But from the SEBI side, let me just put it out to you that as far as the social stock exchange is concerned, we have requested the government to give any investment made in the ZCZP eligible for a 80G exemption. There is also talks within the government circles that the 80G exemptions that are currently being sought are mischievous in nature. So there is also a thought process that at some point of time, we'll have to do away with the entire process of getting an 80G exemption. So I don't know where this will go. And probably all the deductions that we are now seeking under this charity and other purposes may at some point of time vanish.
Sir, may I ask one question? I am CA Vinod Kumar Goyal. Sir, this question is related to the prior session also, which is dragging on in this year, that is on the multiplicity of the regulation or the overlapping of the regulation. You told about inclusiveness, ki why CA Institute should say ki it is my monopoly, why not cost accountants, why not chartered secretaries. Okay, very good. But then the SEBI is also trying to poke its nose in the regulation of CAs. The CA regulation provides for the or the Companies Act provides for the rotation of the auditors of listed company every 10 years. Now you as SEBI has introduced rotation of internal auditor of the stockbrokers also. So that is one more area you are encroaching, sir. And on top of that, you have introduced another requirement that the signing partner or one of the partner or the employee should be NISM qualified. So the chartered accountants, you have put a condition of 10 years experience. Still you don't believe in the capacity of the chartered accountant of 10 years that he should qualify for an ISM also for doing the internal audit of stockbrokers.
I'm glad you asked this question, sir. So we discussed briefly when we were there. So I'll just tell you, articulate to you the reason why we believe there is a certification required. So as far as the CA is concerned, we are not doubting your ability or capability to handle audits. Absolutely not. What we are trying to do by certification is to retrain your processes and your thinking to what the expectation is from the regulatory side for compliance as far as the stockbroker is concerned. So you are aware as a stockbroker, there are various compliances, whether it is to the stock exchange and your obligations toward the investor. So while SEBI in its regulations have put in a lot of compliances and processes, we would want your CA ability to understand the logic of why the compliances have been put in. So the certification program is aimed not to test your capability or ability as a CA, but to train you to think like a regulator. Because if you are an auditor, or let's say a statutory auditor or an internal auditor, you are an extended arm of the regulator itself. Given this, we just want you to think like a regulator. That certification is only to train you to think like a regulator. It's not a multiplicity of certifications. So if you are going for a stockbroker, you have a certain certification that is required. So I believe that is the reason why certification has been mentioned, and it is not because we do not complement each other. We just say you are our complement, you are our extended arm, but please retrain yourself to think like us rather than being just a CE. That is our only short point.
Hello. Yes. So, sir, another question to you. So, first of all, congratulations. I think SEBI has been one of the most active regulators that we've seen of late. I mean, there's immense activity that's happening from SEBI's side. But while that's happening, we also see that the regulations, there's this plethora of regulations that's coming up. It's hard to keep track. I mean, for simple things like ICDR, we've seen 4 to 5 updates in less than a year. So do you have plans of simplifying SEBI regulations in any time soon?
Thank you for that question. And thanks for the congratulations, especially after somebody suggested dissolve SEBI. So again, let us see it from a different perspective. So in ordinary parlance, it is said, चोर आगे भागता है, पुलिस पीछे जाती है, ठीक है? So this happens not only for crime-related issues. Somewhere the regulator has to rebalance itself when the market conditions are changing. So market is dynamic, right? You cannot have the same position in the market today that you had yesterday. So the moment something changes in the market, you are required to attune your regulations, change the regulatory roadway to say that I won't go this way, I changed my, at the crossroad I've changed my direction. So that's where we are today, because we believe that if you do not respond or react to market forces or market demands for future evolution of new products or new services, we will not be able to take our economy to a higher level than what it is today. So we are developing at a fast pace, and I believe the evolution or the generation of more regulations and rules from SEBI would be attuned to the market pace that we are keeping. However, we realize that this is becoming too haphazard, or let's say too few and too frequent. What we have done in LODR, you would have seen that for the last 6 to 7 months there has been no movement, because there was a call from the industry that there are so many compliances coming from the industry side. So let us have a gap of, let us say, there is no amendment in this place. So while there has been no amendment to this place, there is a big paper on consultation that is going on Regulation 70 of the 30 of the LODR that talks about what is a material event and how the materiality shall be determined by the company. So that is going to be one of the major pieces of regulation that we will coming out in the near future. But I will have to accept that we may not be able to stem the new regulations being promulgated within SEBI because we need to react to the market as and when and as dynamic as the market would be.
Sir, just 30 seconds on this. Just a small.
Yeah, you're audible, right? I'm able to hear you, yeah.
Consider everyone who's part of the market, and second, the updates that are coming, those can come periodically, right? Instead of saying, okay, we're going to have updates every quarter or every 3 months, right? Every time we have to follow a regulation, the books have become completely irrelevant, right? We can only look at the website. Maybe there could be annual updates, right? Or once in 2 years, so that even the regulators, the practitioners, the companies can keep track of that.
Okay. See, when you go to a policeman, so every person who walks into his police station is not good, right? So that is the mentality we may have developed over a period, but it is not so. So if you see, there are some departments that interface with people who would have fallen on the other side of law. So that's the mind is trained to treat those people in that fashion. So if you see, primarily the regulator's role is in two parts. One is regulation and one is enforcement. So while regulation and development go hand in hand, enforcement, if it is not there, then you will not feel that there is a law of the land. So unless you enforce or you have a firm hand on how you are going to enforce your regulation, nobody will respect you. A stockbroker can just walk away with your money and you wouldn't have anything to do with it because SEBI will say, "Mere haath to bande hue hain." But that's not the position we want to be in. So while we have brought in regulations, we want to ensure that they are also enforceable. So that's why you will find that while we have a soft side, we also have a hard side when it comes to enforcement. But without enforcement, no regulator can be respected. So that would be my response. You mentioned about the second question is, can I just remind me of?
That was a suggestion. We were talking about periodic updates
Oh,
rather
right.
than.
Okay. So let me give you, we have recalibrated ourselves, and today, if you see on our website, you will find something called as master circulars. So if there is any change that has taken place over a period of time, so we will try to periodically update the master circulars. While regulations will always have a series of annotations and suffixes where the changes have taken place, so the other side of our regulation is on the circulars and others, that we are trying to make a compilation, and a master circular will encompass whatever SEBI had said on a particular topic. So that already exercise is there and it is available on the SEBI website. So all regulations, rule making as well as consultation papers are available on the SEBI website, and you will be surprised, even the board minutes and the agenda that has taken to the board is also available on the SEBI website. If you just go to the SEBI website, you will find the board agenda as well as the minutes and consultation paper on the website. So you won't find a more transparent regulator as far as putting out its governing the rules and regulations and rule making in public.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you so much.